Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your buddy Rob Molina, back to you again with another vid. In today's vid, I will show off a couple of the My Hero Wave 3 pops that I was able to get. In a previous video, I showed you the four that I had initially. For whatever reason, my GameStop didn't get all 7 at the same time. They got 4, I would say like last week or a week and a half ago, and then the rest of them came in a couple of days ago. So I'm not sure why there was such a delay with all of them, or I mean 3 of them, but not a big deal, not a huge thing. You know, I just had to wait a couple more days or another week, ain't no thing. But yeah, I was finally able to complete wave 3 of this line of pops. But it seemed like this particular pop, of course, it's Izuku Midoriya, of course, in his battle suit. And as you guys can see, it's Deku sort of kneeling on one knee and sort of ready to sort of, you know, fight, throw down with an enemy. So definitely a cool pose that Funko incorporated into the pop itself. So very nice. But it seemed like a lot of people were having the same issue. I know other channels that I follow were getting, you know, 6 of them, and this guy was sort of like missing from the lot or from the shipment of pops. So I'm not sure if Funko sort of dropped the ball and maybe sort of you know, delayed the manufacturing or the production of this guy. But luckily everybody seems to have gotten it by now, you know, a week and a half later, a week later. But the one thing I noticed with this pop, and if you guys could comment down below if you've noticed it too, the paint flaws on this particular pop were sort of pretty prevalent. I know that my GameStop got 3 of these, and you know, when I was looking at the boxes, you know, I wanted the best box, of course. I just wanted it to look as good as possible. But I noticed that all of them, as far as the paint goes, were sort of looking a little wonky, a little crazy. So if you guys can't see, the white paint that they use to you know, paint the front of you know, the grill of Deku's battle suit just looks weird in some spots. Right here you can see like the white paint didn't really adhere to that spot. Same thing where the mask sort of hinges on the side of his mask right here. The paint flaw is kind of pretty prevalent. It's kind of got a little ridge right there. On this side it looks a little bit better. You know, I'm not much of a snob when it comes to the pops. You know, I want it to look as good as possible. To me, it's more about having the pop in the collection. But yeah, I do want it to look nice, or as nice as possible. But yeah, yeah guys, I mean, if you could, you know, see if you know, you have the same issue. Normally I don't take my pops out of the box, but with this one I had to, just because it seemed like the paint flaws were pretty prevalent. The cool thing about this particular pop is that it's got the clear plastic over here, so you can kind of see Deku's nose through the mold right there. So that's a cool little touch that Funko incorporated. And of course, I love the ears on his battle suit. Of course, this is sort of like a homage to All Might and his hair. All Might's got sort of like that feathered sort of peacock thing going on with his hair. But very cool. So yeah guys, yeah, I'm glad I have it, glad it's here, and glad it's mine. So we'll get into the next one. Of course, we'll get into the arch nemesis, or the bad guy, the main bad guy. Right here, it's All for One. So very cool. I'll show you the side panel before I rip the box open. Of course, it's just a standard pose. It's just All for One, sort of like, you know, extending his hands out, sort of, you know, whatever, taunting, you know, a good guy. But yeah, definitely a badass character in the show. All for One has a pretty unique quirk. So he's basically able to stack quirks, and he's able to basically use them as his own. So I think in the show, I think they reference All for One as having, you know, anywhere between like 20 and 30 quirks at his disposal. So it's very cool. what he does is when he defeats an enemy or kills an enemy, he's able to sort of like assimilate and sort of take that and sort of use it as his own. And if he deems the quirk as sort of being benign and boring and something that he's not able to use, he sort of gets rid of it, sort of disposes of it, and of course disposes of the enemy or the bad guy or the good guy, whoever gets in his way. So definitely a unique sort of quirk. I mean, makes him very, very formidable. Definitely a powerful enemy to have to defeat. In the show, him and All Might sort of battle for sort of supremacy again. In the show, they fought 3 times before that, or 2 times before that. So they fight for a 3rd time in the series. I don't want to give away too much, but it's a very sort of iconic battle between All for One and All Might in the show. But the cool thing about this pop is like the mask itself. In the show, All for One definitely has a face that's scarred up, that's been mangled, that's been beat up. So his face is non-existent. Doesn't have eyes, doesn't have a nose. So this mask that he wears and this breathing apparatus sort of helps him, live. Yeah, the cool thing about the mask is it sort of kind of looks like Bane from the Batman series. So it sort of has this sort of weird sort of thing where it just wraps around the back of his head, the back of his neck. So very cool effect with that. Love how they incorporated that. Looks mechanical, looks biomechanical. So very, very cool. Of course, the mask itself has like sort of the slits where his eyes should be or would be, but of course he does not have any eyes. So yeah, just a very cool pop overall. Of course, nothing too fancy when it comes to this pop. He's just sort of decked out in a blue suit, blue slacks, some black shoes. But yeah, it looks phenomenal, looks great. I'm glad I have it. And of course we'll get into the last common pop in this wave, and this would be Teacher All Might. So of course All Might is one of the lead protagonists in the show. The reference to this guy is the fact that All Might goes back to his old stomping grounds. He goes back to UA High School and becomes a teacher. And he becomes a sort of mentor to the kids, to all the kids, and it allows him to sort of like hang with his protege Deku, who of course who All Might has found his one for all quirk ability to. Yeah, so very cool pop. It's just a crisp, clean sort of pop. The mold itself is pretty spot on. Of course, he's got the thumbs up. He's always got that sort of iconic sort of smile. His pearly white's always showing off. So in the show, All Might basically always smiles in the face of fear, no matter how desperate the situation gets. He's definitely always got that positive outlook. So yeah, it sort of reassures the students and reassures everyone else that as long as he's around, that everything will be a-okay. But yeah, the mold itself, very cool. Once again, it's a simple design, but sometimes less is more when it comes to these pops. Definitely stands out, definitely cool, love it. But yeah, in the show, this is definitely a cool like little filler episode, cool little sort of take on the character itself, just because of course you always see All Might in his suit, or either you see him in his suit or you see him in his weakened state when he doesn't use the quirk to his fullest potential. So yeah, but last but not least, guys, I wanted to get into the last pop that I got. It's not part of the wave 3 of pops. This is considered part of wave 2 of the My Hero pops. So of course, wave 2 consisted of Weekend All Might, Todoroki, Deku in his UA uniform, Kosuyu, and Shoto Aizawa. which is another one of the teachers. But as you guys can see, it is Tomura Shigaraki. So this is basically All For One's protege. All For One is his mentor. Basically, his reign as the supreme bad guy is sort of winding down. So he wants to pass down his knowledge and his insight into All Might and how to defeat him and how to take him out onto his student, his mentor, Tomura Shigaraki. The cool thing about this pop is that it's really, really heavy. You didn't realize how heavy this pop would be. So very cool. But yeah, the mold on this looks pretty phenomenal. As you guys can see, of course, Tomura has these embalmed hands on his face. They cover the front of his face, top of his head, the back of his neck. So yeah, he's basically covered in embalmed hands. The reason for the hands over his face, is as described in the manga, is that those are the people that he's been able to sort of kill with his quirk. So those people, unfortunately, met their demise through the hands, or at the hands of Tomura. So in the show, I think he's got like 14, hands spread throughout his body. But this thing looks phenomenal. I can't believe how cool this thing is. I'll have to show you guys every single possible angle of this. But of course, that's a cool little touch that the hand is sort of, covering his whole face or smothering his whole face, and all you can see is that one sort of Funko, beady-eyed kind of thing going on. Of course, he's got the apparatus over here, kind of leading from this hand to the back of his neck. So very cool. Of course, you see the other hands spread throughout the rest of his body, on his arms, on his sides, on his chest. So yeah, very, very cool in every single way. I'm so glad that I was able to pre-order this way back when. But the reason for the hands is, like I said before, he was able to use his quirk, which is called Decay. Anytime he touches anything that's organic or inorganic, he's able to sort of touch it and sort of decay that thing. So it decomposes, it turns to dust, it just disintegrates. Definitely an enemy that you don't want to mess with. If he does touch you, obviously it's game over. He's able to sort of like ruin your day and possibly kill you. But the cool thing about his quirk is that in order for him to like execute it, he has to actually put his entire hand on you or over you, or touch you. So in the show, I know without giving away too much, he was able to confront Deku in one episode, and as you may or may not notice in the show, when he does touch Deku, he touches him with his hand, which should have killed Deku right then and there, but he lifts one finger, so he's basically grasping Deku, I think by the neck, pretty sure by the neck or the back of the neck, I think it was the front of the neck, but he's grasping Deku, and he basically tells him like, hey, listen, if you mess with me, it's not going to end so well the next time you see me. So very cool. That's a cool little touch that I didn't notice initially when I first watched it way back when, but which I did notice after the fact, that yes, he lifted one finger off and sort of taunted Deku and just said, hey, you know what, next time you see me, you won't be quite so lucky. But yeah, guys, comment down below what you thought of my latest pickups. I'm definitely excited to have all these in my collection. Like I said, at the moment, I'm up to date with all the pops, with all the My Hero pops. So definitely excited to keep that intact. And yeah, guys, comment down below what you thought, and comment down below if you have any of these, if you have all of these. And yeah, comment down below if you're excited about the new season of My Hero, which is season 4. So I'm definitely hyped, definitely excited, definitely want to see it. So yeah, guys, with that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Happy hunting, and do what you gotta do. Find those grails, find those pops that you need. Alright, guys, see ya. Bye.